Hi, welcome back to Velo News TV. We're here at the start of Stage 9 in Val d'Isere with Frankie Andreu. Frankie, I was going to introduce you as Versus commentator, Frankie Andreu, but you wear many caps these days. You're also team director with Rock Racing. What else are you up to these days?
Yeah, mainly I'm focusing a lot of my time with the Rock Racing thing, and I come here for the 3 weeks for the tour, which I enjoy doing. A little bit. I have some camps that I do, and some motivational speaking stuff. So, yeah, I kind of swap hats depending on what time of the year it is.
And don't you also have your hand in real estate a bit?
No, that was there was a lot written about that, but I don't. No, never did. I mean, I have a rental home. Big deal.
Yeah. Okay. Well, tell me your daily routine with Versus. I mean, is Craig Hummer assigned certain teams? You're assigned certain teams. What are your primary responsibilities?
Yeah, we kind of have the teams split up, but at the same time, depending on like who might have the yellow jersey, if they camp out here, like for Rasmussen for 2 hours, then he'll run around and do everybody else I can't do, and I'll make up the slack if he has to try to get somebody that's not coming out of the bus for a long time. But otherwise, I'm in charge of with Craig with reporting and talking to the riders and trying to find out what's going on with that day or what happened in days before. And then at the end, at the finish, just going through that scrum at the finish, trying to get a soundbite from somebody who's willing to talk when it seems like nobody wants to talk.
Sure. So, Paul Sherwin and Phil Liggett, they're straight at the finish every day, but you're at the start and the finish each day.
Yeah. I have a start crew, myself, Craig Hummer, and then our camera sound guys, and we do start and finish. So we have to do the driving around the course fast as you can to get to the finish, so we can watch the race to see actually what's going on. And then Paul and Phil do finish to finish, and they're sitting in the booth watching it, and same with Bob and Al.
What's it like being at the tour on this side? I mean, how many tours did you do? 9, 10?
Yeah, no, 9 tours, and it's different. It's like once you're off the team or once you're outside, you really are on the outside. And if you spend 2 years doing this, then you really cross that boundary into media. And so you really got to stay behind the tape, and you got to respect the rider's privacy, and you have to stand here and wait, even though they're sitting in the bus looking out at you, laughing at you. But it's definitely a distinction. And sometimes, when you're racing, it's 5 hours, it's intense, but that's all you have to worry about. You got 5 hours to do your job. And on the outside, as you know, there's a lot you got to worry about. Trying to get these guys, trying to drive, find your hotel, all that other stuff. So both are hard.
Yeah, it's got to be interesting to be posing questions to guys who you may or may not have been bumping elbows with a few years ago. I mean, you probably have a little bit more of access or a little bit more of a connection with some of these guys.
Well, I mean, I like to think that, and I hope so. And also, I think just by coming here year after year, starting to kind of build a relationship with some of the newer guys, and they find out about me from some of the other guys on the team. So it definitely helps having a little bit of that connection. Either I raced against them in the past, or the directors or the mechanics, somebody I know was from the cycling world when I was there, and that helps.
Yeah, I wanted to ask a little bit, in the past year, the article in New York Times came out where you talked openly about EPO use in the past, and more recently the David Walsh book has come out, and David Walsh writes a bit about you, and obviously you spoke with him as well. What's the I don't know if fallout is the right word, or feedback? I mean, what kind of response have you gotten from people here at the race? I mean,
nothing. It's been fine. I think when I came out and talked about my usage, and then I think took a lot of deflection away from me when the T-Mobile guys and Museu and other riders have all talked about the problems in the 90s, and it was kind of, you can see that it was kind of spread kind of throughout. And the Walsh book mainly, I read it, is kind of a rehash of the SCA case. All the stuff that came out in the SCA case, not only with myself and my wife, but all the other people, what people said. And so I think it was more of putting all those documents and explaining everything that happened in the Walsh book. And I read it, and I thought it was interesting. And, pretty much everything I read was truthful that I remember happening or I had knowledge of. And there was another 10% that I found interesting, stuff dealing with the UCI or the Festina affair and things like that. So here at the tour, though, it hasn't been a problem.
And what is your take? Do you think things are changing? I mean, there's been a lot of talk about this is a clean tour or a cleaner tour. From what you're hearing and from what you're talking with other people, I mean, do you think that there is an actual change? Is 51% of the peloton or more clean this year?
I mean, not getting into the whole Floyd thing, I actually thought last year's tour was the beginning, and it was a clean tour. And I really believe that with this year, too. With watching the racing, and last year, too, watching the racing, and now the way riders are speaking out about it, and the directors and managers taking more efforts and steps to clean up the sport. I think it's definitely more of a clean tour, and so far it's been good, and hopefully the riders know that they can't go back to the old ways, and the sport will keep growing in a positive way now.
Sure. I mean, obviously it takes people like yourself to come forward and talk about it to move past it. Ever any regrets at all about that story in the Times?
Well, it's been hard. I mean, for sure. I know there's guys out there that don't say anything, and there's guys out there who have stepped forward and talked about it. And I talked about it for my own personal reasons, and to be honest with you, we don't all have to bring up the past. In a way, we all kind of realize what went on back then, and what's important is that we move forward in the right direction. And I think the guys who have spoken up realize that we weren't moving forward the way we needed to, and same with the managers. And so I think some of us took a step forward to help try to turn that direction. But now what's important is that going forward, that the riders racing now don't go back to what was happening before.
All right, well, one last question. How long does Michael Rasmussen stay in yellow?
Till the time trial. What do you think? And I think the thing is, though, I don't know if today's not that dangerous of a day because they're so long after the Galibier. But if he can build up like a 9-minute lead, then he'll have a chance to win. But I think he needs like a gap of like 9 minutes to be able to hold these guys off in the time trials.
Well, it's funny. We talked to Levi yesterday, and he said if Rasmussen wins the Tour, he won it on the Roseland.
Yeah, I mean, the guy was phenomenal. He went across the 3.5-minute gap, and everybody else sat there. And it seems like everybody still they don't want to show their cards. Moreau, incredibly strong, and it was a headwind. So again, I don't think today's going to be decisive. The Pyrenees, definitely we're going to see some stuff, and it'll be interesting to see how Valverde, Mayo. Right now, I think there's 6 guys, all pretty much the same. And until they show something, we can't really differentiate them.
Sure. Well, I appreciate the time, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you again.
Probably every day out here, mate. We're always battling.
All right, thanks, Frankie.
No worries.